Hey guys and gals, this is your host Joe. Thank you for coming by Live with Josef. I'm gonna continue on here with some Vingettes, some story time, some short little clips of stuff that I've had saved that I want to talk about. And here's the second one made today, the 19th of January 2024. So enjoy. This next one here is: my son refuses to mess up his hair by wearing a hat on a cold day. He looked at me and said, I'm going to enjoy it. He looked at my receding hairline and said, I'm going to enjoy it while I still have it. Well, when I was living with the she-devil and the ingrate the second time, you could all, his birth father, the good Christian Bob. Funny how they're good Christians, but they commit adultery. Never been able to quite wrap my head around this. Anyway, hell, I guess if you show up on Sunday and write a 10% tithe, you're forgiven. Anyway, she's rambling on about, oh, he has Grandpa Kenny's hair. And I looked at and said, he's just going to have a lot less of it. Well, I saw him last year for the first time in about 15 years, and I can assure you, he doesn't have any of Grandpa Kenny's hair. Not like I care about being bald or not, but it's like, don't talk shit if you can't back it up. So we'll move on to the next one. Another one about living with the she-devil and the ingrate the second time. He had 41510 tattooed on him. And 415 used to be the area code for the majority of the Bay Area. And then as more phone numbers came, you all know this, area codes are split. So the 415 in the East Bay became 510. So he had this tattooed on him in some design. And the she-devil asked him why he got this done. And he said, well, that's where I come from now. You'd be surprised, the she-devil really didn't say a lot like this, but she pointed in between her legs and said, no, this is where you came from. And I burst out laughing. I think, she acts so conservatively, but it was really a gem to come out of that woman's mouth, and I've never forgotten that. So now we'll move on to the next one. This mem says, I went to audition for a TV commercial and they asked, have you considered radio? Now, I've seen a guy who says he has, hold on here, I got to remember this. Sorry, he has a face for radio and a voice for print, which I always thought was pretty damn funny. I will say, a guy in my circle, not so much now, but on Facebook friends with him, I got a crap story about this guy. We were up there at the table. I don't know why the hell him and my brother George went up, but we did, like overnight or something. And one of the trips. Anyway, we're at the craps table right there on Virginia Street at the Flamingo. And he bet the horn. And we're telling him, dude, this is a stupid bet. He's a literal rocket scientist. I'm not kidding. I mean, the guy, you meet people whose brain, now, I'm not always stupid, but this guy was smart at a level that we just weren't able to really comprehend. One of the nicest guys I've ever met. Anyway, he bets the horn and he wins the horn and he doubles back on the horn again and wins it back to back. And we had nothing to say as he's raking in a big pile of chips. All we could do is shake our heads. God love you, Kev. You're a good man. I hope you see this. So we'll move on to the next one. God, I get absent-minded. I want to talk about this guy, Kev. He, I swear to God, had a voice for radio. Now, he wasn't certainly ugly. He could have certainly been on TV, but the deep timbre voice. Oh, my God, the dude should have been an announcer. He should be announcing Price is Right or something. And the guy just had the voice to die for. That's what I wanted to talk about Kev about. So now we'll move on to the next one. The pip is of a Ford LTD2 mid-80s or so in a police special. Now, I post this because Oakland, when I was working at Bay and we had interaction with OPD, their primary cars were assigned to a beat. So you would see, it seems to me, you'd see a car that had 8517 as its number, and it was a 1985 model on beat 17. Okay. Well, Oakland bought a bunch of these Fords. They had been using the Dodge, the St. Regis's with the 318. And they went to these Fords with the 302s because they're lighter and they had more oomph. Well, these things are, for the time, they were really light and pretty damn powerful. And within about a year, Oakland had wrecked about at least half of them. Because I started seeing other beat cars showing up on the calls that I was responding to. So these things, if you could find one, they're supposed to be pretty fast little cars, especially for the era, but they're not that heavy and you need to be careful. So here's this 90-second vignette, and we'll move on to the next one. You see the line here, give that person 2 medals, one for being a fucking idiot, and the second in case they lose the first one. Older guy in my circle, he's now since passed, used to say that, you know, somebody needs 2 of them, one to shit on and one to cover it up with. I've never forgotten that. Can't remember what I had for dinner yesterday, but I remember that. So we'll move on to the next one.